Wow, okay. We really just woke up and decided, hey, let's make a podcast. So, hello, I am Robindale Music, and this is my podcast called Robin Radio. This is episode 1, and it's going to be just an introductory episode about what I'm going to talk about and just who I am and why you should support me. Anyway, yeah, I'm a 21-year-old musician slash content creator slash now podcast talker, and I am currently a college student. I am studying computer science with a minor in music, and I recently switched my major from opera singing. So I used to live in Boston, and I used to study opera, and now I'm in Texas studying computers, which is a very interesting turn of events. Honestly, I still don't understand it sometimes, but it's just how it be. And here's the reason why I switched to computer science from opera singing. So let's just get into it. So when I was 9 years old, I decided to use my vocal cords and use them in a song for the first time. I think I sang Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I really just had a passion for singing ever since that day. And actually, I didn't sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I remember the moment when I got into music. It was when I was 9. I was performing for Halloween, and I sang Three Little Birds by Bob Marley, and that was the first time that I sang on a stage, and I sang in front of people just at a Halloween block party where my whole family was playing instruments, and where I just went up for that one song, and then I did a little doo-wop in the background for the rest of the concert, and just went around and ate food and tended to the guests as a little 9-year-old could do. But when I was on stage for the first time, I realized I really, really liked that feeling, and I was chasing that feeling for the rest of my life, the feeling of pure passion and bliss and just joy over expressing myself to a number of people and making an audience really come together and really be happy, because that's what that Halloween party was. It was, my dad was on the drums, my neighbors were on the guitar and singing, my brothers were on bass, and I sang as well. My other neighbor played a violin, and my other neighbor played the cello, and it was just magical. It was amazing. My best friend, a couple of my best friends that I still know today from when I was 9, and we met in the neighborhood concert. They were my neighbors at first. They were the bouncers at the event, or the welcoming committee, where they would just give people trick-or-treat bags when they saw the little band. And so when I was singing Three Little Birds by Bob Marley, I really liked the community that came along and came together, because everyone in the audience just looked really happy to see this little 9-year-old singing her heart out. There was a trailer filled with a bunch of kids that went by, and then they stopped, and they all came out, and then they brought a piñata and while I was singing, and it was just a really happy moment. And I think that's my initial first impression with music and singing, and why I really wanted to get into it, because it's it was a community, and it brought people together, and it brought people happiness, and it brought people from trailers into my yard with piñatas. Oh my god, I need to sing again, so people give me a piñata or something. But I've just been chasing that feeling of community, of joy, for the rest of my life, and sometimes I get that feeling, but a lot of times in the fine arts industry, you don't get that same feeling. And so I realized I could sing when I was 9 years old, and then I went into choir. And I was in choir from age like 9 to probably like 20. Now I'm 21, so it was pretty recent if you look at it, but it's weird. It feels so far away. But it's just that a lot of the times, like, once I made singing like my thing, it became more of like a job and more of like I just do it and I don't know why I do it. And then I kind of lost my reason why I did it. And then I realized I wasn't really doing it for me, and I didn't really get the community thing. Like, a lot of the energy and like just headspace I was in was not the right headspace, I guess. And everyone has different perceptions of opera school, but for me, I just felt like I got trapped into being in an elitist crowd. And music was not about elitism to me. It was about community and joy and just being expressive, because I always feel the need to express myself. And that's why I'm making a podcast, because I believe that I can like genuinely like just talk for like 30 minutes without stopping. And so here I am. But I was doing opera school, and it was beautiful and amazing, but it was just very competitive, and I did not feel at the best mental state, I guess, when I was there. So I took a mental health leave from Boston Conservatory at Berklee School of Music, and my mental health leave turned into the pandemic. So that was weird how I took a mental health leave, and then like about a week later, everyone else had to evacuate the school for the pandemic. So I don't know if my mental health was just me being intuitive about the pandemic, or if it was me just like giving up at the school, because it was like really insanely difficult to constantly be performing every day. And it's just like, why am I doing this? Like, who am I making happy? It's just like, where's the passion? Where's the joy? Where's the community? And there is a community for sure. But it's just like, I was chasing that feeling that I had when I was 9 years old, and when I just like brought a bunch of neighbors together and kumbaya, you know? And it's just like, when people have to pay like a bunch of money to go see an opera, and then like you have to like fight all these other people to get the part, and then people get sad that they didn't get the part, I would just like overthink everything and just be like, I would feel like I would think sometimes when I was in school that other people in my classes deserved it more than I did. And so I was like, okay, I don't really like necessarily want it enough to deserve it. And so I would just like quit everything and was like, okay, this isn't for me. And it was very difficult to quit, because I gave up a piece of my identity, and I had only known opera singing and being classically trained my entire life, basically, since I was 9 to 20. And then I just was really depressed about it at first, because I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know why I did things. But as time went by, time heals all, I kind of got a little bit like more free, if that makes sense. Like, I freed myself from the expectations of being an opera singer, and from the constant pressure of always performing, and from the constant like just accountability and constant need to improve and just grind and grind and grind. Because the thing about musicians is musicians are so dedicated, and musicians are so just, music is time consuming. That's all I'm gonna say on that. I mean, not really, I'll say more. But music takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, a lot of passion, and a lot of energy in order for it to be at a caliber that it needs to be. And that's why a lot of people fall in love with music, because it's this very intricate idea that takes a lot of passion, and people love using their passion. But for me personally, when I use my passion, like every moment of every day, I just got a bit overwhelmed and a bit like anxious and depressed, and it was not good for me personally. But I mean, I look back on it, and I think I could have like definitely survived getting my opera school degree if I had just had like a therapist or something. But I do not have any regrets about completely erasing everything I've ever known. But it's kind of scary, but it's also kind of freeing to me to like completely do something else, because I felt so obligated towards being an opera singer my entire life that I just felt like I always like needed to like be somewhere, or like if I wasn't like doing something, I needed to be practicing something so I don't embarrass myself later. And that was just a lot. Like my schedule in Boston was, I had classes from like 8 a.m. to 11, maybe noon some days. And then I'd like normally like eat lunch and then go practice or go explore the city or something. And then I think I had class again at like 2 to like 6 or something. Like I had 19 credit hours, and that was like for everyone. Like everyone had 19 credit hours at least. And then we were expected to like practice outside of our studies, because in one of my classes, it's called performance seminar, we had to perform every single day in front of like, I think like 15 to 30 people. So it's just like, if you don't practice outside of your actual coursework, you get publicly embarrassed in front of everyone. And then you had voice lessons, and then everyone always expects you to constantly be on the grind. And it's like, you don't have anything else to do, I guess. Like, you don't have any, like, math or anything, or, like, science or anything. But you do have, like, your music history and your English classes and your just everything, your time and rhythm, dictation, diction. Like, you have to learn how to learn, like 4 languages at once in opera school, because most operas are not in English. But anyway, it's like there's just a lot going on at once, and honestly, like, people think that studying like singing would be a very like fun, like stress-free experience, and it is, but it also is just a lot of like energy and mental work as well, because you're constantly overworked with all this stuff, but it's fun work. So there's that. But also, what stressed me out the most was the fact that you are not guaranteed to even get a job by the end of your degree. And so I like really assessed myself, and I was like, do I want to put in all this time and effort into something that like won't even like matter? It does matter. Like, no shame to people who get fine arts degrees. But if you go out into the world of fine arts, they do not care if you have a degree or if you don't have a degree. They just care if you can do the thing that they want you to do. So some people learn that through their degree, and that's great, but you can also learn it by yourself. So it's just like are you going to be disciplined, or are you going to need an institution to discipline you, you know? And also, school is really good. Like, fine arts school is really good for networking, and I still have some connections that I've made at Berklee, and literally that's like most of the like marketing I do in my music. I just like ask them and like steal their information of what they learned from class, which is kind of funny. But I also look up YouTube videos and stuff for like marketing and just, yeah, so I went to Boston Conservatory, Berklee School of Music, and then I went to Austin Community College. And in Austin Community College, I literally failed every single class and had a GPA of a literal 0 because I went there when I was depressed. And that was not a good idea. Like, if you are ever depressed, do not go take classes that you're paying money for and do not fail all of them. Like, the thing is, like, I would just selectively learn. And I've been doing that, honestly, like, my whole life. Like, I selectively learn. And I don't believe in, like, how do I say this? I don't believe in, like, grades being, like, the purpose of school, if that's understandable to you. I think grades are, like, a way to assess dumb things. Like, I think grades make you, like, grades aren't the right tool. Like, I really don't believe in grades. I just believe in knowledge and finding out the information that you need. So basically, like, I believe in more, like, personal growth and of course you should, like, pass your classes if you believe in that, but I don't think grades should necessarily be the, like, motivating factor in education systems. I think there should be different ways to assess how much knowledge you pick up other than grades, because grades can be very just putting people down. Like, why would you ever call someone a failure? Like, if they got an F, like, that's like giving them learned helplessness, and then they don't want to try anymore, and then they'll get more Fs. But it's just like, and then if you give someone an A and then they actually don't really know stuff, like, what if they cheated, like, and then they still get an A? They just know how to do your stuff, and then they don't have any real life experience. It's just kind of messed up how grades work, and I think all school should be is, like, a way to, like, get knowledge, and grades should not ever be involved, because why would you call someone a failure for not learning the way that you want them to learn? Like, aren't they paying you? Like, that's my little rant about grades. I've never liked grades. I've never been good at school. So maybe I'm very biased. I really just think that I go through life learning what I want to learn, and I'll get the information I want to get somehow, and I'll pick up different things from school than just, like, random ass grades. Excuse my language. Because I think, like, it's more important to get knowledge than to have, like, academic quote-unquote success, because knowledge is power and knowledge is success. So I feel like school should teach you the ability to learn, and they try to do that by teaching you a bunch of things that you don't really need to know, so you, like, get good at learning. But I feel like it's important to establish your own goals, and then you can pick up, like, things that would actually, like, apply to you and use that to succeed in life. So something I did in community college when I was failing everything was that I switched my major about 12 times. And I was doing this thing where I was just acquiring knowledge, and I didn't even care about school, and I didn't care about anything, and I just wanted to learn certain things at certain times, which is why I have so many random facts of knowledge that I can bring up, and people are like, how you know that? Or, like, how, like, what? Like, I majored in business administration for a long time. I majored in marketing until I got my social medias up, and then I dropped out of marketing because I was like, okay, I got social media knowledge, and then I majored in sales so I can learn how to do my own shop, and like I journaled everything that I learned in my classes. And of course I still failed every one of them, but I did get the information that I wanted to get out of the classes. So I call that success. I also majored in I don't even know what it's called. I literally did not go to any of those classes. I majored in like finance at one point, and that was just I learned how to do my taxes, and then I was like, okay, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know out of this major. I also majored in music business. I was playing with business for a little bit because I believe a good way to make a lot of money, which is what I want to do, is to make businesses. And here I am making a podcast business. Yay! But I've been into social media, and I've been into music, and I've been into blogging, and I've been into TikTok, Instagram content creation. And I'm even going to eventually open up a store. But we will see about that. I'm just trying to monetize literally everything so I can make a living off of me being me and not have to deal with all this grades bullshit. And all this like expectations and all this like, what are you gonna do with your life? Well, I can do whatever I want whenever I want to, you know? I don't know. It's just so much unnecessary pressure, and it's just like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you put unnecessary pressure and stress on people? But so I changed my major like 12 times. I was also fashion for a little bit, so I would learn how to dress, and I would learn how certain like body types fit certain things, and like certain like makeup trends are good. I almost got a cosmetology. Oh my gosh, I almost got a cosmetology degree because I was like just trying to decide what I was going to do after I quit opera singing. So yeah, I like did this one craft, opera singing, for like most of my life from 9 to 20, and then I was like, well, I literally don't know anything other than opera. Time to pick up a bunch of random knowledge that I never learned when I should have been probably learning other things other than opera. And then I like picked up all these majors and all these random things, so I could be multi-sided in knowledge and just resourceful, because I had this fear, like this very strong fear about not knowing a lot of things, and not knowing things made me really anxious because I just wouldn't know. And so I only knowed opera, and that's literally what I like lived and breathed for like 11, 12 years maybe. So I felt like I needed to change my major like 12 times to really like explore and really figure out what it is I wanted to do. And I still don't know what I want to do, but right now I'm trying to do social media, and I really hope I just get rich and famous, but we will see about that. And I want to write music because that would be pretty cool to just release that. But yeah, so I did that at community college, and I was just living with my parents during the pandemic. I got COVID literally like 3 or 4 times, maybe more. Maybe 6. I don't know. I was sicky. And I didn't even leave my house, which is weird. So I'm like, how did I get COVID if I didn't leave my house? But I guess like maybe like my mom went to the grocery store or something. But yeah, I was a little hermit for like a good like 1 or 2 years. And yeah, I was first a little bit depressed in my room. Then I started busking, and that was pretty fun. I collaborated with some people and thought that I was just going to take off in that way, and then the pandemic was like, let me shut you down some more. And then everything just shut down. So now I'm here. Oh wait, okay, I didn't tell y'all how I got here. So basically after that whole Shazam, I almost like dropped out of college completely and was like, fuck this shit, fuck college, I hate everything. But then I wanted to really be independent and move out of my parents' house. And so I decided, okay, let's make some adult decisions and search up which career makes the most money. And so I'm a female, right? And so I looked up computer science and how most females immediately get hired for the sake of being a female because the world is just an interesting place. And people are like, oh my god, you're so lucky for being a female in computer science. But it's like, try being a female in computer science. I've already gotten comments about how I don't even have to be good at my job to get a job, and how like I'm gonna be worse anyway, and just like really like dumb things, and just things that are just solely based on my gender, which is really odd considering like in opera school it was mostly women, and now in computer science it's mostly men. And I'm just like kind of like shocked. Like I've never actually interacted with this many men in my life. And honestly, I'm just trying to stay in my own lane. I'm like, I don't speak this language. I don't know what's going on. Coding is a whole nother language, and there's so many different types of codes, things, and I still don't know it, but I'm learning. I'm in intro classes right now, and yeah. So honestly, my life goal is to have a bunch of money, because I don't really want to live to work. I want to really work to live. And so I really just chose a career that would allow me to have freedom and allow me to be stable, because I tried being unstable. I tried being the unstable opera singer artist extraordinaire, but that was just way too much on my mental health, and I cannot be in a career that would be unstable, because I just like overthink it. And I've tried, but the thing is, I'm glad I went to Boston, because if I didn't go to Boston, then my whole life I'd be like, what if I went to Boston? But now I'm like, okay, yeah, I went to Boston, and now it's kind of a flex, because when I tell people that, they're kind of like, what? Because everyone in Texas, like, they don't really leave Texas, and they love being in Texas. And that's not everyone, but like a lot of people here, especially like down in the South. So I lived in Austin most of my life, but I go to Texas State, and that's a little more south in San Marcos than Austin. And it's weird because it's only like an hour south, but the people act very different. There are a lot of cowboys here and cowgirls with a very different beliefs system than I have, and a very different political view than I have, and just like very small town vibes. And the idea of Boston is like whoa to them, because they've never been. But not everyone is like that. There are a bunch of really cool people here too, and I've made a lot of friends, and I've like really explored being social and having my group, and it's really nice to be here because of that. And I feel really, really good in here, and I'm glad I went here. And yeah, computer science, honestly, I feel like I spend less time on it than I do when I was singing opera. Like for opera, I was literally working 24/7, and for comp sci now, it's like opera prepared me to be a workaholic. And now that I get like 3 hours of homework, it's kind of like, oh, only 3 hours of homework? I can do that. Instead of like practicing for like 8 hours straight. Sure, woohoo. I don't know, it's very, very different. And the people are also very different. Like in opera school, everyone is like almost networking all the time, and like smiling at you because they don't know if you're gonna pop off or not. But in comp sci, it's just like everyone's kind of more, I don't want to say introvert, but I want to say introvert, and people are just like in their own little zone into coding and doing their own thing. And a lot of times I don't even like talk to the people next to me, and that's really strange to me, but it be like that, I guess. But yeah, it's very, very different. And I feel extremely, extremely lucky to get to experience all of these different things. And I think being young and being in college is a very good, like, platform, I guess, for experiencing different things and really exploring. And so, even though I, like, really shit on grades and, like, the idea of formal education, I still think it's a good place to be because you get to explore. And if you go into the workforce immediately, you don't really get to explore. You just get to work, sleep, eat, work. So, but when you're at college, you could literally be like, yeah, I can switch my major 15 times and I can try 15 different career paths. But it's like, if you're in your life, you can't get hired at 15 different jobs in a month, you know? It's like jobs are going to see that and be like, this person, maybe I should not hire them. They've worked at 29 other places this month. You know, that's really odd in the workforce. So it's like really cool being in college and exploring and really getting to see like what it is I want to do. And I feel like I'm a forever learner and a forever grower. And yeah, I just think that life has been so crazy and I'm excited for what's to come. I have plans, I have goals, I am ready to pursue them. But yeah, so I've been talking for like 30 minutes and I think that's a good amount of time for a podcast because that's what the internet said. So thank you for listening to Robin Radio, and I hope everyone who's here has a good day or night. Goodbye.